remaining days in the comfort of his family and friends, all of his white defendants, co-defendants, or people who were charged in similar conspiracies, some of whom I represented, every single last one of them have been released from a prison. Only Matulu remains behind bars. There's racism throughout the inside and outside, and even in the movement as the government targets people. Matulu is still being targeted.
Well, Nkechi Taifa, I want to thank you for being with us, longtime friend, former lawyer, and supporter of Mutulu Shakur, and Brad Thompson, the current lawyer for Mutulu Shakur, who lies near death in prison in Kentucky. Brad Thompson is with the People's Law Office in Chicago. That does it for our show. Democracy Now! Produced with Renee Feltz, Mike Burke, Dina Guzder, Messiah Rhodes, Nermeen Sheikh, Maria Tarasena, Tammy Warrenoff, Tarina Nadura, Sam Alcoff, Tamery Astudio. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.
The viewpoints expressed in this program are the opinions of the people expressing them and are not necessarily those of Fresh Air Incorporated, its staff, or its board of directors.
I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation. Today is Tuesday, August 16th, 2022. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along. A special thanks to our audience at KFAI. You know, you guys can also see us with your smartphones, or if you're at your desktop, go to YouTube or go to Facebook or to Twitter or to LinkedIn and click on Conversations with Al McFarlane, or The Conversation, or Al McFarlane, and you can get connected to us through those digital platforms as well. So what's the deal? We're trying to do all we can to reach as many of you, to connect as many of you as we can every day, certainly every week here on KFAI. And we love and are grateful for the opportunity to be close to you and to be with you. We want to invite you to be part of this conversation, part of this path, part of the journey. What is the journey? The journey is a movement towards fulfillment, completion, self-realization, discussions, conversations that allow us to feel that our feelings are real, that our thoughts are true, and that we matter in every aspect of the word. So we get together with friends and colleagues, some we know, some we haven't met, just meeting, and talk about, ask them, invite them to talk about what's important to them, things that they're doing, and to share that with you. So we're so pleased to have this format. Let me say before I begin, I've got a special thought out. My office is located in North Minneapolis. The building we are in at 1815 Bryant Avenue is like a mini mansion. It's a large private residence, a small mansion. And when we bought it, it had been a family's home. They left because the neighborhood was in transition. It was more dangerous, and that family thought too dangerous for a couple of the members of the household and a child. And I understood that. I feel sorry for them. But we purchased the property, moved in. We've been operating there at 1815 Bryant ever since. We found out that the neighborhood had called the place we're in the Tara Mansion, T-A-R-A. And, I guess that is kind of homage to Gone with the Wind, or the feeling of the antebellum South. Obviously, I'm an African, I'm a Black man, and I couldn't relate. It didn't resonate with me, with my spirit and my soul. I'm a Jamaican. And therefore, I said, let me name this place differently. We named our building, the building at 1815 Bryant Avenue North, the Marcus Garvey House. And it felt right then, it feels right now. It's a majestic name, named for a majestic person. Well, I say all that to say that tomorrow is August 17th, is the birthday of Marcus Mosiah Garvey Sr., and he was born on this tomorrow, the 17th, in 1887 in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica. Um, and his father was a stonemason. His mother was a domestic worker. He was one of 11 children, and only he and his eldest sister, whose name was Indiana, lived to adulthood. I've got pulled up some, like, numerous facts about Marcus McGarvey. I'll read about three about Marcus Garvey, and I'll read about three of those just so that you put Marcus Garvey in your mind and in your heart. And to what end? Tomorrow we'll be joining other organizations around the country, circulating a petition asking the president to issue a pardon extraordinaire, I think it is, for Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was targeted by the federal government, J. Edgar Hoover in particular, I believe, for using, I think, the strategy of mail fraud in particular to discredit and to destroy the largest, up to that point in time, this is the 20s, international assembly organization of Black people. Garvey was a master organizer, a visionary who captured the imagination of the Black world, not only here in this country, but Black people around the world signed up, joined up, suited up, marched, protested, shared under the banner of Africa for the Africans. The motto was, "Up, you mighty people, you can become what you will." I think that's still true today, and I think that today we have the opportunity to fulfill, to complete, to carry to the logical extent, the mission and vision of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And that is because we have the ability to communicate differently, better, and without intervention due to the digital technology in the world. So tomorrow I'll be sending a note out to you or telling you about a petition being led by Marcus Garvey's son, Dr. Marcus Garvey in New York, asking on behalf of the citizens of this country, asking our government to clear the name of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who this country had imprisoned with trumped up charges of mail fraud, all to discredit, discourage, and prevent the emergence of a sense of self-reliance in Black people. They have failed, and we are here, and we rise still. Well, let me move on to the program. I want to begin. I think I have my friends from Yellow Brick. Is that what it is? Yellow, what is it? Hold on a second. Austin Van. Is Austin here? I'm trying to look. There she is. Hey, Austin, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you. I saw your note last night about the event that you guys are doing tonight, I think, right?
Yes.
And so I said, why don't you come on quickly and invite people to talk about, to know what you're doing and to be a part of what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, it is a community conversation. And Al, as you know, I am a Penumbra Theater company as well as artistic director at Yellow Tree Theater. So I'm used to community, and I'm used to community conversation and our community looking after each other and feeding each other and housing each other and supporting each other. So that's where I come from. With our theater being shut down, like theaters across the nation, for 2 years due to COVID, and then the rise of deadly racist movements against our cultures, there seems to be a deeper trauma. So we opened up in 2021, our theater industry opened up in 2021. And what we noticed is that there is an even wider gap. These divides that are on racial lines and social lines and gendered lines. And we are, frankly, as I said in my statement, we are eating our own. I'm not used to that. It's foreign to me. And so last year, Yellow Tree started a community conversation, and we committed to talking every year about how we can do theater better and how we can uplift each other and support each other and try to heal each other. So that we can do our work that heals people. The work that we do is supposed to heal people. And it feels like we've lost our way a little bit and we've lost contact. So tonight, from 6 to 8, we're going to have community conversation about some of the shared traumas. And some of the underlying issues of our trauma and how they're bearing out as far as our divides, our gendered divides, our racial divides. And there has been an outcry from the community to hear from one of our community members, even a demand, who will be there tonight to read a statement that he's prepared regarding a transparency and harm that was committed about 5 years ago that our community says we need to hear, and for there to be healing and for trust to be rebuilt and for safe spaces, making room for safe spaces. So it's a lot we're trying to do tonight, of course, isn't it always? But we have to try. We just have to try to talk to one another. And so we have 2 wonderful facilitators, one on Zoom and one in person, and then a mental health professional that will be on site with us so we can unpack these issues and safely ask questions and answer questions. So that's can be, you can come join us at 6 o'clock tonight at Yellow Tree, 320 5th Avenue Southeast, Osseo, Minnesota. It's way behind God's shoulder, or you can join us via Zoom. And if you can't join us, that's okay. We're going to record it, and we're going to allow there to be links to Yellow Tree's statement of intention and then our guest's statement of apology, work, and commitment.
Austin Van, thank you so very, very much. Always good to see you. Good to hear your voice. Good to enjoy the peaceful and healing vibration that surrounds you all the time. And keep up the good work.
Thank you. We're trying, aren't we trying? We're going to change this world, Al.
And we must and we will. That's how I say it. Okay, take care, my friend.
You too. Thank you.
I'm Al McFarlane. This is Conversation. This is The Conversation with Al McFarlane. I have to catch myself because we're rebranding this for years. Conversations with Al McFarlane, lovely name. But we, of late, are trying to figure out how do we move this project, this connection to the next level. So I say this in a spirit of transparency and learning and remembering. And I see in the top of the screen, it says The Conversation. So I'm being reminded by my producer to use the proper name, and that's cool. The Conversation. That's how we're branding this point going forward. And I say that to invite anybody listening on KFAI or watching across the social media channels who has specific knowledge and interest in media and communication, social media, newspapering, digital opportunity, who wants to help. I'm looking for help. If you are a master of the craft and know how to move us from X number to X thousand listeners, viewers, subscribers, we want your help. That's what we're trying to do right now, is take this to another level. And we know that the next level is not limited by geography, not limited by location. The technology affords us to be with each other around the globe, and we intend to be there and go there. Let me continue by inviting my friend from AARP to talk about their project. I am old enough to be a member of AARP, but I've also worked on the board of AARP a few years ago and have just stayed close to the organization. It means so much to our people, our demographic. And right now, AARP tomorrow is introducing a new outdoor fitness park over in St. Paul by Hallie Q. Brown. So Kathy McCleary is the new Minnesota State Director of AARP. She's joining us now. Kathy McCleary, good afternoon. Welcome to The Conversation. Good to see you. How are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you. And thank you so much, Al, for having me on the program today.
Well, this is a beginning with me and you. Like I said, I've been a proponent and a beneficiary of AARP as an individual, as a family person, as a citizen, and I've been a volunteer on your board in years past. So I am AARP all day. So I'm glad to have this chance to kick it with you here.
Well, we appreciate that. And, you didn't mention that you are a 50 over 50 honoree.
I am.
So AARP Minnesota and Pollen, you have been honored for your contributions for being someone who is in fact 50 and older, who is making a true difference in the community. So thank you for what you do.
Well, that's coming up again. You can talk about that as well. But today I wanted to do two things. One is talk about the outdoor fitness park. Tell us about that. And then I want you, while you're saying that, think about talking about Kathy McCleary. I want to have our conversation end up with people understanding who you are and what motivates you, what inspires you to pursue the work that you're pursuing so powerfully.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. The outdoor fitness park at Hallie Q. Brown, which is organized by FitLot. This is a very big deal. So in 2018, our CEO, Joanne Jenkins, made a very big commitment to building an outdoor fitness park in all 50 states, plus Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, as part of our 50th anniversary. And so we really were committed to building those parks. And we were so fortunate here in Minnesota to have an existing relationship with Hallie Q. Brown Center, and decided that would be a really important place to put this outdoor fitness park. And so this FitLot, it's open all year round. It's free. We know it's a little more challenging in the winter months, but now is a perfect time to come check it out. Really, it's about fostering healthy habits and addressing health disparities, creating those public spaces and outdoor spaces that can be enjoyed by residents of all ages, and really provide a meaningful opportunity for people in that neighborhood and in the community to come and engage in a really meaningful way. And so we are so excited that fitness park is ready to be used, and we're going to have a big celebration tomorrow. Of course, it's on the corner of Marshall and McCubbin, right next to the Martin Luther King Rec Center. We're going to have a couple of food trucks. We're going to have music, and we're going to have an opportunity for people just to come by, check out the park, and give some of that equipment a spin if they want to.
That's great. Maybe too, since you're going from noon to 2 tomorrow, maybe sometime in the 1 o'clock hour, somebody could jump on a 2-minute call and use their cell phone. Use a cell phone and give people a walkthrough or pictures, of the park, and be part of inviting the community to enjoy this resource.
We would love that. So we also, as part of this effort, so not only did we make sure that the equipment got installed and is in a perfect neighborhood for it to be in, we're also working with the St. Paul Parks Department, because we know sometimes it's intimidating, whether you go to a gym or you're going to come to this outdoor fitness park. If you haven't used the equipment, sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating to know exactly how to use it. And so we have contracted with the St. Paul Parks Department to offer free classes, and this equipment is, can be adapted to meet a wide range of fitness levels. So you can use it as is. Some of them have knobs you can turn to change the resistance, so you get a little bit better workout, or you can bring your own resistance bands. Those are really inexpensive. And the St. Paul Parks certified fitness instructors can walk you through in some of those classes on how to use that equipment, and so that it's not so intimidating, and that folks, of any fitness level, can come and use that equipment at their leisure. The other thing I wanted to note is that the equipment here in Minnesota, as well as the other fitness parks across the country, they've all been manufactured by Landscape Structures, Inc. of Delano. So a hometown company has had a really important role in this as well. But yes, we would love for people to come out tomorrow from noon to 2 and join the celebration and just check it out.
Awesome. Mention the jazz festival too, if you would.
Oh, sure. So yeah, we've been a longtime sponsor of not only the Twin Cities Jazz Festival, which of course was at the end of June. We are also a sponsor of the Selby Jazz Festival coming up in September. And again, just a really great way to build community, to get to know one another, and have that meaningful opportunity to engage. And of course, the music is always fantastic.
Mm-hmm. How about your personal background, Kathy? How have you come to the work? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from South Dakota,
Mhm.
but I am not new to Minnesota, nor am I new to AARP. So I've been in this role as the state director just under a year. I started last September. I've been with AARP for 17 years, both in the South Dakota state office and then at the regional level. And I've just been so fortunate to come join the team at AARP Minnesota. And really, I wanted to come work with this team and in this community because of the really fantastic work that they are known for doing on behalf of the 50 plus, not only in the Twin Cities, but across the state of Minnesota. Not new to Minnesota, so I am a Gopher grad, University of Minnesota,
Uh-huh.
go Gophers, and bounced back and forth between Minnesota and South Dakota most of my career. I spent a good chunk of time working at WCCO TV. Right here in the Twin Cities, Channel 4, before going back to South Dakota to raise my family. And so I was really missing the Twin Cities. I was missing the environment, missing the community. And so when this opportunity came up, it really was like coming home for me.
Well, that's awesome. I've got a picture of the Jazz Festival promotion. I'm going to add that up to the screen here. Golden Time Coffee Cafe is an originator in partnership with you of the Selby Jazz Fest. Golden Time, stellar resource in our community, a wonderful place, great people, and the Selby Avenue Jazz Fest, a wonderful activity, a place where people get together and enjoy each other. They really just have a good feeling about being in community, and it's wonderful that AARP is supporting that work. You know, Kathy, I'm interested in a sense of AARP and diversity. How has the organization moved with the degree of intentionality in ensuring that Black people, people of color, people who are immigrants know and can enjoy the value proposition of AARP? What do you think?
Yeah, so really our mission is to empower people to live as they choose as they age, and that crosses all spectrums, right? Our founder, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrus, said what we do for all. And that crosses racial boundaries, it crosses geographic boundaries. It is really at the heart of all we do. And I think a lot of the work that we do really speaks to that as well. So when you talk about our healthcare initiatives, the fitness park, addressing those healthcare disparities. We know that, your zip code can determine your health outcomes. And so we want to make sure that people, in that community in St. Paul near Hallie Q. Brown have that opportunity to be fit and not have to pay for a gym membership, that this is an opportunity for them to be healthy and make good choices, starting, with kids who might be in that community as well. This is certainly intergenerational. And really giving people that opportunity to engage in the community in a way that is very meaningful and address some of those health disparities. Addressing wealth disparities, making sure people have resources and tools to build a strong financial future, making sure that you're prepared for retirement, and that you have that information, fighting fraud, knowing that, anybody of any color can be the target of a scam, and helping provide that information on how to protect yourself as a consumer. That is really, really important work that we do. And livable communities. So we want to make streets safer. We want to make sure people have adequate housing and transportation opportunities. We want to make sure people have access to healthcare and information and resources to stay healthy. And those are really, really important pieces of our social mission that really crosses every boundary.
Well, listen, Kathy, so glad to have you here today. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Like I said, hopefully this will be one of several ways we can collaborate around the mission, the work, those wonderful objectives that you've just described, those fabulous resources and services that you bring in service to healthy aging and growing and being in community. It's important.
Yes.
And I simply want to, I'm so glad you cited this Fitness Park at Hallie Q. Brown. And Hallie Q. Brown is one of the legacy institutions, but I know you've also had a very active chapter over at Sabathani Community Center, like legendary leaders of the community
Yes,
get
indeed.
together and keep that movement going. So there's been an engagement that has been excellent in the African American community, and I think that the intent is to continue that, to grow it, expand it,
Absolutely.
and whatever we can do to help and support that, we want to do it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I welcome more conversations as we go forward, for sure.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
I'm Al McFarlane. This is The Conversation with Al McFarlane. Again, it's just cool to talk to people, to find out kind of sometimes the story, sometimes the backstory, the motivation. I have a ball every day connecting with people both here and around the country and around the world. And I'm lucky to be in the seat that I'm in. Let me bring my co-host, Brenda Lyle-Gray. Brenda, how are you doing? Brenda joins me every day from New Mexico.
Yeah, yesterday I was in Utah.
You were? Okay.
That's what you said.
Okay, all right. I said Utah?
Yeah, you did.
Really? Okay.
Of all states.
One of those days, I guess, yeah. Brenda and I'll tell this audience that Brenda and I go back a long, long ways. We both were in kindergarten together in Kansas City. We're both at around 75 now. So this has been a long time, lifetime checking in on how the world looked when we were 5 and how the world looks now. And I think Brenda agrees with me that it's important that we value and recall our first impressions, our first aspirations, our first dreams, and that we take stock of what has happened in the world, what's happened in our lives, and then what must happen, because we still are committed to building something that is that survives us, right? And that speaks to our having added something to the planet. What do you think, Brenda? Is that
a connection, Al? I talked to your birthday girl and my best friend Brenda the other day, and her parents are 96 and 97, and I think of all of us that are in connection, and especially with Burnell and Kamal. Not too many people, number one, could have this platform to come together. And I thought about it when we were looking at the Santa Fe Place pictures and looking at DA Homes. So what a privilege. And I think I just need to thank you on air, because I don't think too many people have 70-year friendships that they could sit up and talk about all of these memories and know, even though, some of us have had a pretty rough time, we're still here to celebrate and to meet all of these wonderful people in your city. They're really great.
And around the world. We
are connecting that's true.
With people in Mali.
I was getting ready to say Brazil. He was moving. He was powerful. But the young lady that you just had on, that's having the event, you were right. You could feel that powerful ambiance with her. She was so passionate in just that short time.
Well, you're going to feel the same thing with our next two guests here. Tito Wilson is a brother, a neighbor, a friend, a light in the community, a pillar of the community. And joining him is Sister Latasha Sims. And they're here in part to talk about a major event that they are responsible for. We've been promoting it in Inside News. And the event, let me pull my notes up here. Tito, let me just bring you in first of all. Tito and Natasha, bring you both in. And rather than have me search through my notes, let me just ask you to tell people what the event is that you guys are working on, and we'll keep going from there. Tito, good afternoon, brother.
Yep. Hey, good afternoon. And, Al, thank you so much for having us on, man. It's always a pleasure to be able to come on and speak to you and speak to the community about, what's happening, you know. So the name of the event that we're putting together is called Live Your Healthy Life. And that life is spelled with a Y. If you want to know why, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But the event is happening this Saturday, August 20th, right here on West Broadway, in between Penn Avenue and Logan Avenue, from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Okay, great. So talk about it. We had the graphic up. Put it back up if you would, Bosch, and tell us what the concept is, what the mission is, what the purpose is.
So, let me give you a little bit of backstory. I'm going to tell you the initial idea about this event, which is nowhere at all where it is now. But it actually started back in late 2019, going into 2020. I had this idea, and I was having conversations with a few organizations about putting together some sort of healthy event for the community. Back then, though, it was really only going to be about bringing in some healthy food trucks so people have better options, food, because literally right here on this end of Broadway, we literally only have Olympic Cafe. So I started having some conversations, and, there was no date, there's nothing set in stone. But, like I said, I was having conversations with different organizations about putting together an event. Here comes COVID, and it wiped that all out. You know what I mean? Nobody wanted to meet, no organizations would meet up, so we just forgot about it. But throughout the time, when COVID was at its height, we connected with some organizations, myself and a local doctor named Zeke Kenny. We connected with Minnesota Department of Health, and we set up a vaccination clinic right here in the Barbershop. And so, that came about, and then I started doing like the blood donations with the American Red Cross to help fight sickle cell that impacts our community way more than it does other communities. And I started telling Zeke, I said, you know what? I feel like something is brewing. Something bigger is going to come out of this, because I don't believe that I'm here in this lane only to have the shop open for vaccination. Something is going to come about, bigger than what we're doing here. So let's fast forward to a little bit. So how I connected with Latasha and our other team member, her name is Brittany Clausen. So, you had a lady on earlier, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but she was talking about, the lady just before was talking about the Selby Avenue Jazz Festival. Mm-hmm. So I ran into Latasha and Brittany at the Selby Avenue Jazz Festival, and I told them at that time, so we had Broadway Open Streets happening that same day, but I prefer to go to the Selby Avenue Jazz Festival. But I had a brief conversation with them that day, and I told them, hey, I want to connect with you guys because there's something that I want to do here in North Minneapolis on West Broadway. Mm. So, we just had that brief conversation. Fast forward maybe a couple months, I think it was, Tasha, before we actually sat down and got together. And so, we started, I told them kind of like my idea, what I wanted to do, how we wanted to activate this end of West Broadway, because, when the Flow Arts Crawl is happening on West Broadway and the Broadway open streets, there's not a whole lot that happens down here on this end of West Broadway, and this is like literally on West Broadway between Penn Avenue and Logan Avenue actually has the highest concentration of Black owned businesses here. So our like gifts and talents, during those community events are not really showcased. And so, I wanted to do something for the community and something that will allow for these businesses up here to be able to showcase their talents and what we had to offer. And so, here we put together the Live Your Healthy Life event. And so what's going to happen here at this event, like we make connections with so many health organizations, and I can run down a few. North Memorial Hospital, Children's Hospital, Gillette Children's Hospital, Prairie Care, some mental health facility, Aruba Emotional Health Services, Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. I wanted to pull them in because, I want for people to understand that there is a strong connection between housing insecurity and how it impacts their health. How housing insecurity also can impact how a parent treats their children. And so, we brought all these resources together really to wrap this community, wrap them in just a host of resources. So there's so many things that people in this community suffer from, as it relates to health. And so we wanted to bring together an event where people could access just all these different resources. So if it's high blood pressure, if it's diabetes, if it's cancer related, if it's sickle cell related, if it's, you go on and on and on. There's somebody, if that resource is not directly on ground, there's going to be somebody on ground that's going to be able to point you to that resource. And so we want people to come out and take advantage of all the resources that are going to be here. And there's going to be, the draw has always got to be some luck. You can't just tell a bunch of Black people, hey, come in and get all these health resources. So, we put together this amazing lineup, this concert we're going to have. We have two bands, the International Reggae All-Stars, and then Jamela Pettiford and her band, they're coming in also. And then we have two solo acts, Louis Blaze, he's a young hip hop artist, and B. Croc, she as well as young hip hop artist. So, we're gonna have the information and resources that people can take advantage of. We're gonna have the live entertainment that people can take advantage of and just enjoy. We're gonna have yoga event happening that morning so people can come out and stretch and just kind of, prepare for the mindfulness of whatever of that day or whatever it is that you're dealing with that you may need to connect with your breathing on. And so there's going to be shopping with local vendors as well. And also we're going to have food trucks. So, I've tried to encapsulate the totality of that day, but it's going to be that plus so much more.
I'm sharing the ad that we ran supporting your work in Inside News, Live Your Healthy Life. So I'm asking the radio listeners to see with their ears. I'll describe what's in the flyer. You've described it already, but I'll share it again. Live Your Healthy Life, a health and wellness focused block party by the Northside community, for the Northside community and beyond. So everybody's welcome. And it's happening this Saturday, August 20th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The center of it is at 2126 West Broadway Avenue. And as you mentioned, the program, the event features arts and entertainment, food, music. It includes children's activities, yoga and children's activities, healthcare screenings, vaccinations, guided community conversations, mental health consultations, and it also elevates and promotes and supports a variety of Black-owned businesses. You mentioned, Tito, that you've got a number of celebrities present there, and I'm looking at this flyer right now. Great people. You can mention their names again, give them all some more play, and take another minute, Tito, to talk about your sponsors. I think we have to always encourage and support, elevate people that enable us to bring us to ourselves. But before I do that, Latasha, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Talk about your role in this project.
Well, I just partnered with Tito to basically bring this to life. Mm-hmm. We've been working with sponsors, collecting vendors, just doing a whole lot of things to make this happen. And so we're just really, really excited to make this kick off and just come and have a great time. So we're elated at this rate.
Well, it's great that you're doing this. Tito, talk more about, again, the entertainment that's going to be there. Give people some props and also take another round at thanking the sponsors. I think they deserve credit. And what you want to do, I believe, is incent them to do it again and to do it bigger and do it better, to do it not once a year, but maybe once a quarter and then maybe once a month. Because at the end of the day, we need to have companies, organizations, and agencies invest, bring the money to support us supporting ourselves. What do you think?
Precisely. And, it's interesting that you say, quarterly or once a month. What I've been letting all of these sponsors know, typically the healthcare agencies, the hospitals, so on and so forth, is, so one event on one day out of the year is not going to solve the problems that we're addressing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's not enough. But this will at least start the ball rolling. And what I've let them know is that, so this is going to be just this once a year big event.
Mm-hmm.
But during the remainder part of the year, we're going to have some smaller events, whether it happen here at the barbershop, because, we do a lot of stuff right here from the barbershop, or whether it happens on their ground. You know what I mean? We're going to invite community in. So since George Floyd has happened, everybody, all these organizations are kind of like, what can we do? What can we do? We know for sure that we should have been in this lane already. We should have already had connections into the African American community. So we're here now. So I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. You know what I mean? I have no problem whatsoever asking them for their financial resources, asking them for their internal resources, every single thing that is due to us. I have no problem asking for it, and so, all of them have, like I said, they stated, yes, we needed to do more. This is our opportunity. We're coming in now. So I let them know that, yes, this is going to happen. The big event is going to happen once a year, but we're certainly going to be coming in, and we need your resources all year round, because Black people deal with stuff, from centuries long. One day is not going to solve everything. So we're going to develop and cultivate strong relationships to make sure that they're doing in our community what they need to be doing. And, so I don't mind being that person. Me and my team, we don't mind being those people that, will go through, kind of like making sure that they're doing what they're saying they're going to do. We don't mind, talking to them, having these conversations, holding their feet to the fire. We don't mind doing that part. So, we're doing the part for the community in terms of making sure that what they say is what they're going to do. What they offer is what they're going to deliver. We'll do that part. So we need for the community also to trust us and make sure that we vetted these organizations. And if you don't believe them, believe us. Believe us to make sure that you're going to get what you want and what you need. So, here we are. So it's North Memorial Hospital. So thankful for them. Children's Hospital. So thankful for them. Gillette Children. So thankful for them. Aruba Emotional Services. So thankful. That's our sister Nisa Keys just bought that big building up on 42nd and Lindell.
Yep.
She jumped right in. Who did I miss? Prairie Care. Their mental health facility. I think they got a few locations. One in Brooklyn Park. They're the one that's helping out on that day. Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. I talked to our sister Sharice Turner over there. Yep. She came in, brought Chris Coleman. So they're in. B3 Sports. They're the new center right here, yep. Lindale and Plymouth. You know what I mean? They're bringing in that big sports complex. So they're bringing in like bikes and backpacks, and they're actually bringing in a few local teams like the Minnesota Golden Gophers and the Minnesota United Football Club. They're bringing their mascots in for the kids to enjoy on that day. Wow. And it's, Northside STEM District, that big old beast. You know about that, Al? That big beast. So they're bringing that double-decker bus in to do some children activations around meal prep and some other things. And it's Life Source. Oh Lord, how could I forget about Nicole Salam over at Life Source? So they're coming in. They also need to get more acclimated with the community. So they're coming in as well. So you name it, we got it for that day. We certainly got it for that day. All of these Belmont partners, they are a PR agency. We had a conversation with them, myself, Brittany, and Latasha, when we first, after our first couple conversations, I said, well, we need to have an organization that can help us spread the word. And I've been working with Belmont Partners now for a couple years, just on some other projects. So we had the conversation with them. They were all in right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, they said, absolutely, we'll do it. And we've been working with them every single week to help bring this about also. So, I don't know if I've missed anybody at this point, but in Human with Clarence Jones, he brought in Human and a few other organizations that they're going to do their activation. West Broadway Coalition in Minneapolis, they're working with Clarence Jones also. West Broadway Coalition, they're right here on West Broadway, so they could not say no. You know what I mean? They couldn't say no, so they're coming in as a sponsor also. And I mean, in this other group, the Hawthorne Huddle, that's with Diane Hawkins. You know them all too well, Al.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, we got so much happening that day. So many organizations have signed on. North Point, they're coming in as a vendor. I'm not sure what their activation is going to be on that day. We really wanted them to be one of our sponsors, but things didn't shape out the way we wanted to, but it's okay. You know what I mean? This is our first. Next year, we're going to bring them in much earlier as well. So, it's really a day for the community to come in and take advantage of. The focal point at the beginning and still now is definitely for Black people in this community, but there's going to be so many resources on ground that anybody that needs, to take advantage of these resources, they all can come in. You know what I mean? One thing that I don't want to do is to become what we're trying to overcome. You know what I mean? We don't want to be that group of people that now have access to all these different resources and limited only to a certain group. So, we definitely, shot this out to and for community initially, but we really open it up so anybody that has a need can come in and take advantage of the resource.
Tito, that's consistent, I believe, with how we frame community in our culture. I think by definition, our culture has been and remains inclusive. Exclusivity is not one of the cultural characteristics of African people, of Black people in this country. I tell people when I go out and talk about Insight News being a Black-owned and Black-oriented, Black-centered, I say African-centered communications platform or strategy. I tell them that what I have observed in my years of living and working in North Minneapolis at the center of the Black community is that there are people who are not Black who see themselves as members of the Black community. Absolutely. And that's a proper description of who they are. And so we have to, and you have demonstrated the value, the practicality of being unapologetically Black and knowing that the nature of that posture is really universal and global, that our orientation is an orientation that defines humanity. And we represent the promise of freedom and of fairness and of justice among all human beings. That's kind of where we come from. And I think you represent that. You know what? I want to take a minute just to have you talk some barbershop talk. Everybody in our community knows that the barbers are our least expensive therapist, right? And the hairstylist, right? So an hour of therapy or 20 minutes of therapy for just a few bucks. And I'm saying that kind of smilingly, but there's got to be some truth to it. Tell me about your experience as a barber. What does barbering mean to you? How did you come to the profession? And what does it mean besides clipping somebody's beard or cutting their hair? Is it just that, or is it more than that?
It's more than that, but I'm gonna put everybody on notice. So my rates are going up.
There you go.
Rates so if you're gonna have me giving you some therapeutic time during the conversation, my rates will be rising. So let's put that out there first. But I'm gonna tell you something, Al. So being a barber is amazing. You know what I mean? And being a barber and being in the community to be able to do the things that I dream of, to be able to connect the community the way I want to, it's an amazing thing. And a lot of people may not know this. I've been cutting hair for a long time. I've been in business for myself now for just over 15 years. My passion is not cutting hair. I love it. I can do it with my eyes closed. I get up for it every single day. My passion is around community. So having my barbershop right here in the heart of the North Minneapolis community is what feeds my soul. It gives me an opportunity to see people and connect with people every single day. You know, so people come in the barbershop, get a haircut, they laugh, they talk or whatever. You know what I mean? And people sit in the chair and reveal to you things that they don't even tell their wives. You know what I mean? I've there's things that I wish I could unknow, to be quite honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. But that's the nature of the black barbershop, man. You know what I mean? This is really like this is kind of like the black man's sanctuary. Even though we do have women come in. We know have women come in, get their haircut. We have women come in, bring their male sons in to get haircuts. But this is our place. You know what I mean? This is our sanctuary. We can come in, have a good time. But one thing I do want to put out here also, that there's a misconception that anything and everything should go down in a barbershop. You know, I don't believe that. I believe in professionalism. You know what I mean? There needs to be some restrictions around language. There need to be some restrictions around activities. You know, I don't think that, you know, just because it's the barbershop, oh, we can come in here and cut loose. Some shops may allow that. I don't allow that in my shop. My shop is not for everybody, and I'm totally fine with that. You're going to come in here, you're going to get a professional environment. Of course, we're going to laugh, we're going to joke, we'll have a good time. I keep my shop clean. I keep it professional. You know what I mean? There may be a swear may slip here and there, but you're not going to come in here and hear just all sorts of nonsense happening. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times, a lot of things, what I have to tell some young black men is that we deserve professional environment. We deserve to have something that's great. You know what I mean? We deserve to have a place where we can go into and expect for, you know, to be treated with greatness. We expect to be pampered without having all of the nonsense and people coming in with all sorts of things smelling like drugs and all. You know, I don't want that in my shop. There's shops out there for that, but Wilson's Image is not that place. You know what I mean? So we keep the environment clean. We keep it wholesome. We keep it as a place where black people can come in, enjoy themselves, get a great service, get some resources, and go on about your business. You know what I mean?
Did you know Francis Henry? Did you know him? Henry might not have been his last name, but Francis used to own Francis's Barbershop on the corner of, I think, up there where the church is on Plymouth Avenue. Is that one little house there on maybe Plymouth and Russell on the northwest corner. I think either that house or the one that was on the corner that got demolished was a barbershop house that was a barbershop on the main floor. I used to go there years ago, and I went in part for the haircut, but in part for the companionship, in part to be around the people, you know. And what I'm sort of testifying to what you've said, Brother Tito. You go there as a place to sharpen your thoughts, your ideas, and you go first and you listen. You don't walk in the door, Mr. Know-it-all, because you'll get handed your head,
right?
You know, quickly.
Right.
But if you listen and get a feel for the flow, the tenor, the understanding, the awareness of the people that come in and out on the topic of the day, whatever it is, because it shifts person by person as people come, as people leave. But it's a fascinating process, and it's a process that I think reflects the spirit of democracy. As you said, a spirit that's supported by this commitment to professionalism, so people can say or share their story, their point of view, but not experience a beatdown. You might get challenged. You might get challenged and into an argument, but that kind of argument is called reasoning.
Absolutely.
Let us reason together.
Absolutely.
How about this way? Can you see it that way? Can you see it this way? And people all leave, maybe not with their minds changed, but their thoughts, you know, challenged, tested, and feedback that helps them navigate their day. So I love what the barbershop means for our people. And I'm glad that you're able to share your vision, your mission. It's not about just the haircut. I had a friend who was one of my colleagues, a publisher who was Latino, Ray's last name, Aguilar. owns Latino American Today. I didn't know for years and years that Ray had been a barber. I knew that he was an ex-military guy. He and I both served in the Navy. Didn't know him there, but got stories that go back to military experience as sailors. And then, but he showed up maybe, some dozen or so years ago as a new publisher in the Latino community, and I met him through that. And when I met him, he talked about, I didn't know it, he was a barber. And he said, Al, in the barbershop, it's not about the cut, it's about the conversation.
Right.
It's about the he called it the sizzle. And the sizzle was simply us being together.
Absolutely.
Being free to share,
Yep.
And so that's a wonderful thing. And so I see you, Brother Tito, and your colleagues as healers, and it makes sense that you're doing a project that is about healthy life, right? I mean, there's nobody better to do it than you, Wilson Image, Tito Wilson, and Latasha, and all of you to promote the idea of living your healthy life. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Right. Hey,
somebody's talking there. Okay, Latasha, jump in here. You're sitting there smiling. For the radio people, they don't see you, but I'm looking at you on our screen. Thoughts, feelings, impressions. What's this? And these two old dudes talking. What are you smiling?
I just love every bit
Tito's
of it.
not that old. I'm old. Tito is not old, but I'm counting you heading my way, Tito. Okay.
No, it's just really exciting. I was just so happy to partner with Tito and Brittany to make this happen. We spent hours and hours of time and planning, organizing, trying to make this happen and make this great for everyone. So we are just really, really excited, and it's just going to go off without a hitch. So I'm super confident about it. Tito's super confident about it. Brittany's super confident about it. So here we are. It's going to happen Saturday.
Awesome. Last thing, Tito, I asked my guests to tell their personal stories. I didn't get a chance to do that with you. Maybe come back, but take a minute to talk about where you're from and who are your forebearers, who poured the you into you.
right. So I'm originally from Decatur, Illinois, small city, like literally right in the center of the state of Illinois. Born and raised there, graduated high school there. I left Decatur, Illinois in 1994, moved out to Boston, Massachusetts, stayed out there for about 6.5 years, and then relocated to Minnesota back in 2000. But the person, that really, I have two people in my life that did the absolute best for me. One is my dear mother, and my second is my cousin, Gene. Gene, he's only 5. So now, you know what I mean? It's kind of like same age almost, you know what I mean? But back when I was 14 years old, he's 19. He's somebody that I looked up to. And my mother was the type of mother, like, I didn't have to do anything bad. She'd just say, you ain't going nowhere today. You ain't going. I'm like, why? I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Because when you're a kid, you want to go outside and play and you can't go. You kind of think about, well, you did something wrong. My mom had the foresight that I unfortunately did not have. You know what I mean? She kept me out of the streets at the time when she just knew that it was time for me to stay at home. And then the times when I was out, she called up cousin Gene and be like, pull up on him. You know what I mean? And he literally would find me. You know what I mean? Decatur's small city, so he knew the places where he'd pull up, like get in the car. You know what I mean? And literally drive off. And I'm telling you, I had like three friends. There was a group of 4 of us. 3 of my friends, the one that he used to pull up on me and get me away from, all 3 of those guys ended up in prison, selling drugs and just doing different stuff. 2 of them are out there kind of, doing good things now. One of them is still there, still in prison. I was the only one out of that group of 4 that even graduated high school. So my dear mother, she was the best. My father died before I was born. So she did her absolute best to make sure that I had the life that she intended for me to have. My mother had a definite sense of purpose if she didn't have anything else, So she brought me to who I am, and my cousin Gene. You know, my cousin Gene, he was the best man in my wedding. So we're like, he was kind of like a big brother to me now. He's still a big brother, but there's, I'm 49, he's 53, 54. So there's only, but yeah, they are the reasons why I'm here still to this day. My mother brought me here. Her and my cousin Gene kept me here.
That's a great story. And Brenda, what do you think? What are you thinking as you hear this?
It reminds me of Miss Jessie on Indiana, and we used to sneak up at the door, especially when my father was in there getting a haircut, and we wanted to hear all the gossip. And I bet you we were 8 or 9 years old and we're not supposed to be crossing Indiana. Mm-hmm. But before I know we're going to go over. Are we over?
No, we got about 50 seconds.
I just wanted to tell you, Tito, make for sure that your team gets a copy of statistics about disparities, and some of your sponsors, ask them what they're doing to close those health gaps. Okay. Indirectly, but you need that information to show them how far apart we are and how healthcare has, kind of escaped our people because of the system. But get a hold of those numbers and see where we are with heart attacks and strokes and psoriasis and things like that are really killing us. COVID's not the only thing killing us.
There's a lot. Listen, we're out of time. This has been a wonderful conversation. Tito Wilson, Latasha Sims, the event this Saturday, August 20th, 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Live your healthy life. Check it out. Show up. Support it. I'm Al McFarlane. This is The Conversation. We'll see you next time.
And have a good one.